Hi, Joanna Hutchinson, once again whistleblower with another update. My last video was around an article in The Guardian from 2011, so obviously a long time ago, about the Met Police using surveillance systems to monitor mobile phones. So what I want to do now, I've been doing quite a lot of research as this is happening to me. And thanks to a subscriber, this is part of my journey to find out what's happening to me and to explain it to you, and on behalf of myself and other people that are going through this. So there's a number of WordPress articles that I want to read to you. The links will be below for your own reference. This is from a targeted individual, also known as a TI, from July 13th, 2015. The title is Metropolitan Police / Security Services Gang Stalking and V2K Sound Handlers. The article says, there is a huge misconception of what and who the handlers are. Who / what are they and what is their purpose? Every TI, targeted individual, will understand eventually that they are targeted by a government body, either law enforcement or security services. In my case, both. Why are you targeted and why are you on a target list is never made clear or identified. There are TIs on both sides of the Atlantic, and the only common thread running through all TI stories are the techniques, process, and the effects on each target. All targets know they can hear the sounds and know there is no way of shielding themselves from the sounds. The sounds will follow you from the deepest underground to 35,000 feet in the air, as well as in any continent around the world. All targets are at one time or another have considered that they may have been implanted with RFID implants, nano implants and various other types of bugs. If you, like me, you have had multiple full body MRI scans, CT scans and X-rays, then you know there is very little truth in that. For me, very luckily, I can read the code and I know what they're doing. So that has helped with my sanity because this is what they try to do. Anyway, let's move on, and I think it will become clearer. All targets will also consider their neighbours, family members and friends of friends as being their handlers or contributing factors in your harassment. Again, eventually you will realise it's the sounds you constantly hear that make your perception your reality. By the time you figure that out, it would have been too late and you would have burned all bridges and any support mechanism you would have had, leaving you isolated. Once your support and social structure is dismantled, then in your solitude and isolation, you'll be dependent on the sounds you hear for interactions and eventually develop into fully into a person who will talk to himself out loud at all times. Luckily, I've always done that, so you couldn't tell the difference. This would be the time the society at large will label you as mentally unstable because they can't hear the sounds you hear. It's all so interesting. So interesting. Looking at American TIs, it's clear they all think or know their handlers are humans who would harass them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year round. In the UK, I'm in the UK and can only talk from my own experience. In the UK and Ireland, the handlers or sounds are computer-generated voices on a trigger and cue platform. No matter how rich, powerful and advanced any government is, the idea it can afford to harass this many TIs with individual handlers is not logical or practical. If the most powerful governments in the world, like the US and UK, can't afford to target and put under surveillance all the terrorist cells, drug traffickers, human traffickers and paedophiles, then how can they afford to target ordinary citizens by assigning individual handlers on around-the-clock surveillance? They can't. Interesting though, they did with me. They did with me, and I have all the evidence, which is also being released. They did with me. This is out of control, people. What is it that I have that they find so threatening? Well, I think we all know. I think we all know the data that I've released is such a concern to them. They put multiple people around my house and follow me and stalk me. Anyway, moving back to where we were. The use of big data computers and large server farms using satellite networks is the only way to achieve this. If you listen to the sounds, the vast majority of content is what you have previously said, including your communications and conversations. If you still believe the so-called handlers, desktop handlers, are human beings, then either you're still on the early stages or haven't figured out how the sounds you hear are what you've already said out loud or throughout thought/said to yourself. It then gives suggestions in a way of testing to see whether if you're talking to a human being or a computer. You write down 10 questions, who am I, who are you, and see what sounds that follow back. What is going on, people? What literally the F is going on? Anyway, that's one person's view, one person's experience. However, I have a lot more to share with you. That'll be coming up in the next video. Again, the link for this article will be down below. So please share, expand your mind, start realizing this is what's happening to people. And unfortunately, there's some bad news and there's some good news. The bad news is you're probably already a targeted individual, and there's another video explaining about that based on the numbers of people living in the UK. It's virtually impossible for you not to be now. The good news is we're all on the list. Once you're all on the list, and we know about that we're all on the list, then we can do something about it. But more about that later.